It might not be considered a traditional sport, but digital gaming just got even more competitive with the announcement of a professional tournament for South African gamers. The Telkom DGL Masters tournament will see 8 teams compete for R1 million in cash. Paul Chaloner, professional eSports player, joins us now to tell us more. Kind of mind-blowing, Paul, I have to tell you. Yeah. I remember the early days when my husband brought these games home and I thought they were just escapism.
Yes.
And now, all of a sudden, we have a professional team doing this.
We do. I mean, 2 billion people playing video games all around the world. It's not a surprise, perhaps, that the competitive element of that has come to the fore over the last 10 years. And really pleased to see that South Africa is now, joining the elite ranks of some of these gamers around the world that are winning millions of dollars. So it's fantastic.
You wouldn't think it makes a great spectator sport.
Sure.
So what is the pull for someone who wants to watch?
It's very similar to a traditional sport, really. I mean, why do we go and watch rugby or, dare I say, cricket right now? Sorry about bringing that up again. But we watch because we're enthused and we're passionate about it, and because we want to know how we get better in a similar kind of vein, really. So, when we play games casually, it's just like playing football down the park with some, jumpers for goalposts. But at some point, you aspire to do better. You want to be competitive and you want to compete against others because you want to see how good you are. And that same sort of viewership is, there's such a brilliance in seeing a great shot or a great piece of play in a video game, and it gives me the same kind of thrill that I would see, a footballer scoring a great goal or making a great play on a rugby field. So I think it's very similar to traditional sports.
Just give us a sense of how big professional gaming is internationally.
Yeah. Well, it's huge. Some of the numbers, they blow me away, and I'm sort of soaked in it. $18 million given away at the international one tournament alone last year. The winners, 5 men, received over $6 million in prize money. It's not just prize money though, it's, big brands are getting involved. McDonald's have been involved, Nissan, Renault, huge corporate brands all over the world. Telkom, of course, here in South Africa as well. So brands are getting involved and the viewerships are going crazy. 14 million people were tuned in to the League of Legends World Championships at the same time. And that's more people than watch rugby in Britain for a whole season. So in comparison to traditional sports, it's really right up there. Bar sort of football and so on. So, right. Yeah, I think that's the next step, isn't it? Beating the football.
Wow. What does it mean for the South African team that has now been made professional by this whole launch?
Well, there are 8 teams been put into the Telkom Digital Gaming League, and they are all passionate. They love playing these video games. They want to compete on the world stage as well. They want to show that South Africa is up there with the best of them in the world and compete on the international stages. And this is the start of that, being able to compete in their own Premier League of gaming in South Africa. So, they're thrilled. They're really happy to be part of this. And I think, you saw last night the launch was fantastic. They all enjoyed themselves. But more than that, they're really ready for the competition.
But it's kind of a sedentary activity. I mean, yeah. How will they balance that with sitting in a room, with their controllers and just operating in a very sort of isolated context?
Yeah, I think this typical stereotype, isn't it? Really, we always think of perhaps gamers sitting in the basement, darkened rooms, eating pizza and leading unhealthy lives. But that's far from the truth when it comes to esports these days. We have professional players playing in big teams all around the world. They have dietitians, they have fitness instructors, they have psychologists, motivators, coaches, strategists, the same as you would find in any rugby club or football club. So they understand that a healthy brain and a healthy body helps them have better reaction times, reaction times of fighter pilots. So when they're conscious of that and they understand that can give them a slight edge, then they're happy to go along and obviously enjoy a healthier lifestyle alongside. So I don't see it as perhaps we saw in the 80s or the 90s when we were perhaps vegetating a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm. Do you think a lot more kids are going to consider this as a future career?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, as I said, it's aspirational like any other traditional sport. I think when I was 5, I wanted to be an astronaut. I think you quickly realise that's quite a niche job, and you might not get to be an astronaut, and then you want to be a pop star, and you kind of think, actually, that's a bit. That's a bit niche too. Yeah. And then you want to be a footballer. And I can see that the children of the next generation, would aspire to be an eSports superstar. Why not?
Or a commentator like yourself.
Or a commentator.
Thank you so much for coming in to talk to us, Paul, the professional eSports player and commentator, Paul Chaloner. Headlines are next.